Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Bonchinche with Skyla. In today's episode, we will be watching a very easy to follow tutorial on how to make spicy bulldog ramen. Whether it be chips, salsa on her tacos, or just a good spicy margarita. You all know that Skyla loves her spice. But before we get into that, we have to do our song of the day. Today's song has been on my mind since I woke up, literally. It's a throwback. It's a classic. It is Your Love Is My Drug by Kesha. Yeah, she really did her thing on that one. I mean, give me a Kesha song that's not good, that's not iconic. You can't. Don't forget to drop your song of the day in the comments down below. Anyway, let's jump right in to our tutorial. Hello and welcome to a cooking episode with me. Today I'm going to be making spicy bulldog ramen, the carbonara pack. I have my pan right here. It's like a non-stick pan. It's pretty small too, like the perfect size for my noodles. I'm just gonna fill it up with a little bit of water, probably like half a cup. All right, now that I have this filled up, I used about 3/4 cups of water. So this was my half cup measurement. And then I put about half of the half cup. I'm going to go ahead and turn my stove on and keep that at about mid-heat. So while this warms up, I'm gonna open up my pack of ramen. Every pack of ramen comes with 2 little packets of seasoning. This one is the dry seasoning, and this one is the wet seasoning, the spicy seasoning. Now that it's just the noodles in the pack, I'm gonna wait for this water to get a little bit bubbly, and then I'll throw that in. So this is starting to get a little bit hot, and you can probably see, can you see that? There's steam blowing off, and there's a little bubble starting to form in the water. So now that this is starting to warm up, I don't want to lose all my water with the heat. I'm going to go ahead and throw in my noodles. Try to separate the noodles. Obviously, the top is still hard since it hasn't touched the water. But underneath, there's some cooking of the noodle going on. I'm going to go ahead and flip this over in just a moment so I can get the other side wet. So now that I've flipped it, you'll see this side is going to start to separate once the other side starts to cook. Oh, look at that. They're separating beautifully. All right, perfect. So we don't want these to get too overcooked. We just want them to be wet enough to separate and mix in the ingredients. So this is the finished product. Buen provecho. Wow, that looks amazing. I cannot wait to try that. It's nothing like the Maruchan packets that I used to eat when I was a kid, so I'm super excited to see how that one tastes. And before we let you go tonight, here's a story that will tug on the hearts of all pet and animal lovers. Quick story time about the experience we had finding and rescuing our dog. Last year in March, it was a Wednesday night, and we found the dog in an alley nearby, and we ended up taking it in, looking for a tag to see if it had an owner, and there was nothing. He was really wet and dirty because it had been raining for a few days. So what we ended up doing, we went to a 24-hour animal clinic, and we went to see if he was microchipped. The lady that scanned him twice said that she did not find a microchip in him, and we basically took that as like an indicator that we needed to find either his owner ourselves or take him in ourselves. A few days went by. We were checking a bunch of Facebook pages, websites, shelters to see if anybody was looking for him specifically. We didn't have any luck finding an owner, so we decided our next step would be to schedule a vet appointment. So now it's Monday and we scheduled his we went to the vet and got him vaccinated. He did have tapeworm, so we ended up spending like hundreds of dollars at this vet visit. And we had also went and bought him a bed, his food in his water bowl, treats, his actual food, like his kibble. So now we're already hundreds of dollars invested into this dog. Come Monday night, I was taking him out for a walk and I completely let go of his leash. I don't know how it happened, but next thing I know, he's halfway down the block. I start chasing after him, but I quickly lose sight of him and we're just so heartbroken. Like, we are devastated that this happened because we had already grown an attachment to him in those few days that we had him. We had just decided to finally keep him for ourselves. So we were really sad that like this happened. We were really angry about it. And we were just hoping that the next day we could find him because it was already late, it was dark. So then the next day we ended up calling the police station near us and they said they had a husky that fit the description. And so we were really hopeful that it was our husky, and we went into the station with photos that we had taken when we had first found him, and also like photos of just him and us that we had taken since he had been with us. They were like, oh yeah, like that's the dog, you can go back and grab him. So we grab him, we take him back home, and an hour after that we get a phone call that the owner is at the station looking for the dog. And we're really confused because we're like, what do you mean the owner? Like, we're the owners, you just gave us the dog back, the dog's ours. And so we were really confused about like, what they were saying. So then they ended up telling us that they scanned the dog when they took him into the station, he did have a microchip, and that they called the owner of the dog, whoever the microchip was trailing back to, and that he said that he would be at the station to pick up the dog. But we got to the station before him, so they basically gave us back the dog without IDing us, talking to two different people, and giving the dog back to us. So they were basically telling us that we had to take the dog back to the station because we needed to rightfully return it back to its owner. And we were just not having that because we were like, you gave us the dog back. We literally called you saying we had lost our dog and do you have this dog? You said yes, gave it back, didn't ID us, didn't try to see if we were the people that the microchip trailed back to, just took the photos, and that was that. Now we're really upset because we're like, no, we're not going to give the dog back. This is our dog. We've also been looking for an owner for days, and almost a week has gone by and we have not found any inclination that somebody's looking for this dog. So we're like, no, we're not gonna give the dog back, but thank you. What ends up happening next is the first like big plot twist of this story. We end up getting a text and a phone call from the owner of the dog, and he was saying that he got our information from the police station. He got our phone number, our address, and our names, and he was making threats saying that he was gonna pull up and that like he was basically going to do what he needed to do to get his dog back. And we were just like we were really confused on why the police department released our information to this guy without consent from us at all. It was just a really messy situation from the get-go. We end up telling the owner, if you can provide proof that this is your dog. Like, we were asking for proof because the dog had tapeworm, the dog had knotted hair, the dog looked malnourished, and the owner was claiming that the dog had ran away the Wednesday morning that we found the dog on the Wednesday night. Like, the math was not mathing. They were saying that the dog had left from the backyard on Wednesday morning, and we just so happened to find him on Wednesday night. So we were really upset, and we were trying to see what we can do to rightfully like have our our dog. We were telling the owner, okay, if you can replace hundreds of dollars we've already invested into this dog, okay, we'll give it back to you. You want your dog back, we want our money back. We've tried looking for you, we've tried to return the dog to its home, and it was clear that nobody was looking for the dog. We did everything. When I say we did everything, we did everything. We did a lot of research, like very thorough research on this dog's owner, where the dog came from, how long the dog has been in their care. He was originally at the animal cruelty shelter. That's where the first owner had adopted him from. We end up making a few phone calls, talking to a few different people, getting a few different opinions on what we should do, what steps we should take. And the next step we ended up taking was going to animal cruelty to make a claim that the dog was in an unfit home. Once we went to animal cruelty, things just got worse for us. They ended up saying that legally the dog was the man's property and that we needed to return the dog, and that if we refused to cooperate, we're gonna get the cops called on us, which we did, because we were being persistent in the fact that we did not want to return the dog. So they ended up calling the police on us, and we had no choice but to leave him at the shelter. It seemed like we had done all of that for nothing, and that we had grown this attachment in just a few days, and it left us really heartbroken to say goodbye to this dog. The owner was supposedly on his way to the shelter as well to pick up the dog. We were just hopeful that the dog was going to be taken care of, that at least it was going to be in a home and not on the streets. The next day, we checked the shelter page, and he was basically on their missing page so that owners can go and look to see if their missing dogs were there. It said he'll be up for adoption in like 10 days. And we were really confused because we didn't understand why he would be put on the website if he was supposed to be picked up. We didn't know, so we made a phone call to them. They told us that he was there and that he'd be available to adopt in a few days, and that they can't give us any more information on that. So we ended up going in person before his 10 days were up to get adopted. Mind you, they told us that he had gotten adopted that same day, that he wasn't there anymore, that somebody had came in, liked him, and adopted him. And we're just like, how did that happen if he's not ready to be put up for adoption yet? We had already called them, letting them know, like, if he can come home with us, we want him. We left him there with you because you told us the owner was going to come and get him. So we thought that he was going back to his original home, and come to find out he's in a whole new home. We couldn't even grasp like what was happening. We ended up leaving feeling like really hopeless about everything, because now it was like, it felt like we had lost him for sure. A couple days after like all this happened, I get a message from some girl on Facebook, and she's asking me if this is my dog. And I had shared one post on Facebook of a photo with him, and basically just calling out like everything that we had gone through with the police department and with the animal shelter and with this owner. The girl told me that he was in her neighborhood roaming around for 2 days, and that her mom didn't want him to get picked up and put to sleep. So she took him in, and they were looking for his home. And I was the only thing that they could find with his photo. I was just so overjoyed, because this meant that we could get him back. And we did. He was on the south side of Chicago. We drove that way. We picked him up. We got him back. And he's been with us ever since. So we've had him for a little over a year now. He's happy. He's healthy. And we're just really glad that although we went through a lot trying to get him, at the end of it, we still got him. And that's all that really matters. Aww. And that is it for my story time. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one. Alright, that is all we have for you tonight. We were so glad to hear that the story had a very happy ending. Tune in next week to hear about the time that Skyla broke her tibia bone. Also next week, we can look forward to some Mexican recipes that Skyla has learned over the years. Thank you so much again. I'm your host, Sky Dashi, and I will see you in the next one.